Most of the time, you have no need to be any fitter than you already are. I know this because you are alive and hearing this. We have adapted to our environments, and that's just fine. But problems occur when that environment changes in a rapid and unpredictable manner. That's why it pays to be not only fit enough for everyday life, but also for the unexpected events that could occur. Are you fit enough if you crash land on a desert island? Are you fit enough when someone breaks into your home? How about if a friend injures themselves whilst you're on a hike? What about the ever-present danger of a zombie apocalypse? Or worse yet, what if someone asks you to help them move home? These are just silly scenarios for the most part, but they do provide a useful thought experiment. They force us to reflect on our training and ask whether it is truly offering the most benefit to our overall performance. Following are some basic capabilities that I think everyone should train for. Of course, physical or mental handicaps may mean that these traits aren't available to everyone, and the list is by no means comprehensive, but hopefully they might provide a useful framework through which to view training and some goals to aspire to. Can you, in the event of an emergency, remain calm? The first thing that will determine your usefulness in nearly any emergency will be your ability to remain calm. You might be injured, scared or upset, but you need to recenter and focus if you're going to rally others and come up with a useful plan of action. In fact, remaining calm can even help you to become more resourceful and creative. This has been shown in studies where more relaxed approaches to problem solving allow the participants to overcome the cognitive bias, functional fixedness. How do we train for this? It turns out that meditation is a powerful tool for improving emotional awareness and control. By practicing focus, we can choose not to focus on feelings of anxiety or despair. Interestingly, at least one study suggests that practicing any form of extended focus can have similar effects, even rehearsing mental maths. You can also desensitize yourself to stress to a certain degree. This is something that special operations training focuses heavily on. React quickly. In my John Wick video, I discussed topics such as sports vision, visual processing, and attentional blindness. We saw that by training the working memory and using tools like 3D object tracking tasks, it is possible to increase awareness of the visual field. These skills are likewise developed by certain team sports, and those athletes may supplement this training with drills involving a reaction ball. Juggling is a great skill that we can also use for a similar benefit. Lift and carry a heavy object. Lifting an object is a useful ability, whether that means lifting an obstacle or moving an injured ally. But in most scenarios where you must lift something, you also need to move it some distance. More often you'll need to walk with said object. Strength endurance is as important as max strength then, as is the core stability and hip stability necessary to move while under a heavy load. Moreover, we must be able to lift uncooperative objects at awkward angles. We can train this by lifting sandbags, kettlebells and Bulgarian bags, weights that shift and move and that make the challenge slightly different every single time. We can use farmers' walks and loaded carries to practice travelling with those weights. This is what Nikolai Bernstein referred to as repetition without repetition, such that we are not strong and capable in just one highly refined and sterile range. Run far. The first rule of Zombieland is cardio. This is actually a very realistic first rule, given that the ability to outrun danger would probably correlate pretty directly with your chances of survival. The ability to run a long way also suggests good cardiovascular fitness. Nothing replaces steady-state cardio when it comes to improving that kind of endurance. Humans are built to run, so this should form a part of any complete training program. This can develop something called your Qmax, which isn't trained with HIIT. Better yet, we should run on varied terrain so as to create a more dynamic skill that won't be as likely to cause IT band pain and other problems. Run fast. The ability to outrun danger is one of the most crucial for surviving a catastrophe, whether that's outrunning a fire or a missed bus. Sometimes that means moving very quickly from point A to point B, which is a full body movement that requires a strong core, hip stabilization, ankle stiffness and explosive power. Traverse any terrain. Humans should be able to traverse any kind of terrain they might encounter. That also means being able to move vertically up trees, over walls or onto boulders and cliff faces. There are several exercises you can use to improve climbing skill. Rope climbs, muscle-ups and Pavel Tsatsulin's tactical pull-up all mimic that mounting motion. Of course, nothing beats actual rock climbing, which also trains the grip to a tremendous degree. Likewise, everyone who is able should learn to swim. Another aspect relating to traversal is your equilibrioception. Can you balance along a thin beam? Can you remain upright as the world is crashing down around you? Finally, we must be able to jump. What's important here is strength to weight ratio. It's of no use being incredibly strong if you're so heavy you can't climb the stairs or perform a pull-up. If you can squat a huge amount of weight but can't jump, maybe it's time to lighten that load and focus more on bar speed. Maybe it's time to try lifting that weight on one leg, which is how we more often propel ourselves. Running, climbing and jumping give us more options for three-dimensional movement in any environment. It literally increases your physical freedom and creates new escape routes and vantage points. Find your way. Navigation might seem like an odd trait to include here. It's certainly something that I need to work on myself, but this is also a fundamental human capacity, and one that was once crucial to our survival. There are countless modern situations too where survival hinges on navigation. We can't always rely on our phones, which might also actually be dulling our internal compass like an atrophied muscle. Thankfully, this is once again something that can be trained. Interestingly, increasing testosterone may even enhance our internal compass. Also fascinating is the possibility of inbuilt magnetoreception in humans, the ability to sense direction based on the Earth's natural magnetic fields. Remember details. Likewise, the ability to retain and retrieve information is often fundamental. Forgetting that crucial detail could be the difference between life and death. What's often just as important as recall is prospective memory, remembering to remember. Prospective memory can be trained. We can train this by setting ourselves arbitrary tasks for the day and then grading our performance. This has been demonstrated in a number of studies. Communicate, negotiate and lead. Soft skills such as persuasion, negotiation, building trust and blending in are likewise called upon in countless scenarios. These skills are coveted by the CIA and are trained with drills like Perfect Stranger. According to The Big Breach by ex-MI6 agent Richard Tomlinson, this exercise involves trying to get the name, contact details and passport number of a random person in a pub simply by talking to them. Could you do it? Remain focused. Psychomotor vigilance. Focus is a critical gateway to many of the traits we've explored so far. Focus is crucial for reactions, for balance, for memory, for emotional control and so much more. Again, focus can be trained like a muscle, but it's overlooked by many. Once again, we can train focus with meditation. Focus can also be heightened in the moment if we can achieve a state of flow. Learn quickly. Someone who can learn quickly, a so-called SuperLearner, can gain the abilities they need for a given situation. This means not only learning new concepts and gaining new knowledge, but also learning new physical skills.
I know Kung Fu.
Learning is a product of your way of thinking. Specific tools and strategies can be employed to improve the process, so-called accelerated learning techniques, but we can also learn to develop our plasticity, the brain's very ability to reshape itself and encode new information. The best way we do this is by continuing to learn, which keeps the brain plastic. Overcome an opponent. If you can negotiate, run and traverse your environment, you can hopefully avoid a physical confrontation. However, there will always be the possibility that you need to defend yourself or others. Does your physical toolkit provide the traits that will improve your odds of coming out on top? Aim, throw and catch. Hand-eye coordination and the ability to propel objects over distance was crucial to survival during our evolution. And it's still important to be able to track a target, predict the trajectory of an object through space and arrange yourself around that accordingly. Again, this can be trained with practice. We should also expose ourselves to as many physical interactions as possible to develop the inbuilt physics prediction model we keep in our premotor cortex. Actively recover. Active recovery is an overlooked ability that can enhance performance in nearly any physical task. The ability to quickly recover from a punishing experience is what allows you to consistently perform your best. This is another distinguishing feature of the very top performers in the military and athletics. Coach JC Santana from the Institute of Human Performance even talks about how he helps his fighters get strategic rest during a fight. Problem solve. Creativity can be weaponized to solve a problem or even to discover new opportunities. Again, we can practice and develop our creativity, but this is also a product of being able to remain calm, to approach problems with an open mind, to think outside the box and overcome cognitive biases, and to draw from a large well of information and former knowledge. Using these traits in isolation is not enough though. We must be able to dynamically shift between them and apply them in countless combinations. If you can excel in the areas I've listed here, you will be extremely adaptable to a wide variety of unpredictable scenarios. This is what Georges Herbert describes as being strong to be helpful. This is being ready for anything, and this is what I believe it means to be truly fit. So there you go guys, I hope that video was useful and interesting. This is actually a deviation from my planned content schedule this month because I had a flood in my house and I'm currently staying at the in-laws with minimal equipment, so hopefully I can get this video out on time. If it's a week late, then I can only apologise. I just think it's useful to sometimes think about why you're fit and what the purpose of all these different traits we're developing actually might be. I hope it starts a discussion and I hope you guys found it interesting. If you guys agree with these ideas and you want to train in a way that's actually useful and could benefit you in a crisis, then why not check out my ebook and training program, Super Functional Training, where I go into this stuff in much more detail an outline at the end, a program that will develop not only your strength and speed, but your mobility, your brain power, and a whole lot more. Alternatively, you could check out my physical book, which was recently published, Functional Training and Beyond. That's available from all good bookstores, and it contains a large discussion around the philosophy of functional training, as well as many different practical tools you can use from a whole diverse range of training modalities. Either way, thanks so much for watching this one, guys. Please leave a comment and share it around, that helps me out a whole ton. Subscribe if you want to see more like this, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of new uploads. And yeah, I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.